Before we begin, I'd just like to say that this video is totally not a parody of Sliphantom's Unicum guides for World of Tanks, and that they totally did not inspire me to do this video. You also should totally not check out his channel, because he makes totally awful videos. Let's begin. The 1963 Volkswagen Beetle is a car that you either love or hate. And the prime example that even the cutest, most adorable of things can come from the worst origins. Although it started off as just a regular people's car, it quickly became an icon all around the world as both a cult classic and, for me especially, a movie icon. It's impossible to be a car guy and have never heard of Herbie. If you haven't, slap yourself across the face, read a book, and go watch the movies. They're all great, except for the last one. I never thought I would be able to make a video on the Beetle. This is because when fully upgraded it can only reach the top of B class, and as we all sadly know, the beanbags at Turn 10 made online adventures only go from A class to S2, because your average Forza player is too dumb to tune a car for the lower classes. However, in an inexplicable act, the developer team grew half a brain cell and added B class to online adventure, along with removing free roam rush for asphalt events, but unfortunately we have to wait until they grow the other half for them to fix wall riding. But this means I can now review the Beetle without having to engine or drivetrain swap it, which I said I would avoid doing in these series. Even before they added B class rally to the game, the Beetle has always been my go-to rally car for B class. It's back-engined, rear-wheel drive, and has a flat 4 engine. This means it's basically a Porsche and a Subaru at the same time, so it can go fast and go on dirt. To teach you how to drive this car, we have brought here our studio's professional racing driver. Some say he is the video game character Sans from the video game Undertale. All we know is he is Sans from Undertale. Let's watch. First of all, before you even think of getting in the Beetle, you must first ask yourself, am I a good person? If you are, the Beetle will welcome you with open arms and will sometimes even drive for you and be a very happy car. If you're happy, the car is happy, but you need to make sure you treat it well. Take it to nice relaxing drives every once in a while and make him your big car friend. Once you're sure the Beetle won't try to purposely kill you once you start driving it, it's time to race it. Not only are we building the Beetle to be a rally car, but the car itself is rear-engined and rear-wheel drive. This means you will have to adopt a very different driving style for this car in particular to be able to maintain a constant rhythm throughout the rally course. Because you're back-engined, your launch will be a lot better than most other cars and you will grip the corners more when you're on the gas, since you have a lot of weight pushing your back wheels down. However, your car is very twitchy, and as such you need to be very smooth with your steering inputs. As you enter a corner, brake, and turn in a bit earlier than you're used to. It's very important to brake in back-engined cars to shift the weight to the front, otherwise you will understeer massively. Try your best to not slide and instead grip it. Once you're past the apex, you might notice the back end trying to slip out. You can let it slide a bit, but be wary that, because the engine's in there, there's a lot of weight in the back of your car, which means it's easy for your car to spin out. Herbie likes to play, but you don't want him playing Twister, so be ready to counter steer. Your biggest weakness is the game itself, because the Forza team thought it would be a great idea to include long asphalt straights on rally courses. Your raw speed is not that fast, so you will lose out to power builds on the straights. However, you will more than likely make up all of that lost time in the corners, unless you're playing on poorly designed tracks like the Gauntlet. Now that you've mastered all of this, it's time to move to the car itself. Thank you for showing us how to drive, Sans from Undertale. I never thought I would finally get the chance to tune a B-class car in these series. I love racing in lower classes, so let's get started right away. Because you're a rally car, start by getting rally tires. Don't worry, it might seem like they add a lot of PI, but the grip is worth it, especially in winter. Make them as thick as you can on the back because you're rear-wheel drive. Next up, for drivetrain, get a race clutch, transmission, and differential. We'll come back for the driveline later, as usual. Get race brakes, suspension and anti-roll bars. If you want, you can get a roll cage. but I prefer not to unless I really need to lower my PI. Finally, get race weight reduction and move on to the engine. Usually, we prioritize getting camshafts and exhaust first, but I'm just going to cut straight to the chase. Max out your engine. The Beetle's engine is nothing to write home about, but with a few upgrades not only will it bring the car to the top of B class, but it will also have a good amount of power and torque for what it is. This should put you at 696 PI, so go back to transmission and get a race driveline. Despite all of this, we are still only at 698, which should be more than enough to get whatever shitty ricer rims you want on your car. But if you want to keep her be happy and pure, then go to tires and make your front tires thicker. Now that you're finally at 700 PI, it's time to give her be some coffee. For gearing, adjust your final drive towards acceleration until your top speed is 120 miles per hour or 200 kilometers per hour. If you think this is slow, you're right. It is. But this is a B-class car, not to mention it's a rally car, so you'll have to sacrifice top speed for acceleration. But trust me, when I say that it's enough. You'll barely reach 120 anyways in the tracks you'll be racing in. Next up, get -1 camber in the front and -0.5 camber in the back, followed by 0.12 out at the front and 0.12 in at the back. Tune your braking force pressure to 110%. If you want you could tune it higher, but I feel like that would increase your risks of locking up. And lastly, decrease both the acceleration and deceleration of your differential to 50%. And that's it. If you feel like all of that was too complicated, you can just download my tune from the Forza storefront. My gamer tag is Flamethrower XXX. And also, you might notice some people around you using Forza Aero on their cars and wonder to yourself why you don't have some as well. This is because Forza Aero is a crutch on anything below S1, and it will slow you down drastically in the straights, just for the sake of it making corners easier to go through, which you don't need. Because you chose to spend that PI on tires instead. Get good and learn some throttle control, you scrub. That's why I'm making these videos. Goodbye and thank you for watching.